So we're going to be resuming with our tutorial from where we stopped. So we said initially um, last time that we're going to be moving on to the admin section. While we're moving into the admin section, because we need some data coming from actually from database, which only the admin can provide, like the doctors right here. Okay, so the admin have to provide that. So let's quickly move into the admin session, write some functionality and get it done. Okay, so we have this admin right here. We will load the index.php. The index.php, we have this simple layout, right? And then the doctors and everything here. So quickly I'm going to be writing uh, some functions within this place to make this admin really dynamic and working perfectly fine. Okay, so first thing we need to do is to make sure that the user is actually authenticated before it comes to this particular page, right? So authentication is a very important while working on your application. So people won't actually move into your application anyhow and maybe tamper with your data and all of that. All right, so let's go back to our code. So if you notice our headers, they are still on their own different pages. You see that? So quickly I'm going to do the same thing we did on the front end, right? So I'm going to be creating a folder ink, and within the ink folder I'm going to be creating a new file. I'll call this file header.php. As well, within the ink folder we're going to be creating a new file as well. I'll call this footer.php. Alright, just those two. Then let's open our index back up here. So what we need to do is to, let's collapse this and as well collapse this. So we'll just copy from this left sidebar up to the the doc type, right? Just similar to what we did in the front end. So cut, rather, then the header, we paste it here. So we still remember the PHP function for including files. So make use of require ones. So our file is within the ink folder, then inside of the header.php. Alright, so let's quickly do the same for the footer. Where are you? Okay, I think let's see what the footer looks like. Okay, this is what the footer looks like. So it starts from here. Yeah, so copy from here down, cut. I hope you saw that, right? So from line 109 here, copy down, so cut it out. On the footer you paste, save. So here we include the footer.php as well, ink slash footer.php. We save. Okay, so let's go back to our application and then let's refresh. Oops, something is wrong. So uh take our footer to include where ink slash header.php. Okay, let's refresh. Well, okay. Oops. We did add PHP right here. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Okay, so we still have our application running really well. Okay, next thing we need to do is to work on the login to make sure that the user is actually authenticated and logged in. Okay, so we're going to be making use of some encryption, password encryption in this tutorial. So let's go to page login. Okay, so here we are in page login. So we'll go to page login.php. Oops. Alright, it's actually pages login.php. Okay, so this is how the login looks like. So we need actually an email address and a password. Okay, so quickly let's go to our php admin and then we'll manually add an admin for now, just to see that our authentication works. Then after that, the admin can add other admins that he wants in his application. So I'm going to be doing that very quick. Okay, so remember the number of our database is here now, and then we'll go to admins. Alright, so we need full name, email, username, password, and updated that. So for these guys, we are going to be making use of SHA-1. I'm going to be making use of SHA-1 encryption in this tutorial, right? So quickly we'll go to insert. So this is auto increment, so you don't need to add any value to this. So the full name can be, let's say, admin James. The email can be james@gmail, or can say james@kernel.com, and then username, can say username is James. Yeah, then password, let's just say password is test. Then we change the encryption. We're gonna choose SHA-1. Here SHA-1. Alright, so what SHA-1 does is gonna change this text to a very long encrypted text. Alright, so these guys that they will be currently fetched uh, automatically for us. So we click on go. Alright, one row inserted. So we have this row, admin james@kernel.com, password, you see right here. So this is what the SHA-1 did for us. So it took our little text and then converted it to a very long string uh, that actually not be easy for hackers to really penetrate into your application. So the more you go into this, the more you begin to find more methods to secure your password, right? And so this is the updated data, this is the created data. So these were fetched automatically. All right, so we're going to be writing a function. So when we add an email and a password, we're going to be checking, all right, is this password the same with what we have in the database, and is the email as well correct? Okay, then before you can allow the user to sign into the index.php. Okay, that is the dashboard. So let's quickly write some functions. Okay, so within this config file here, I think it's cool if we just move ahead and use it. Okay, so within that config file, let's have functions.php. I told us that we'll be making use of functions more likely in this tutorial. Okay, so functions.php. So we'll start off by having some things to help us sanitize our input, because this input is actually a gateway uh, to our database. Most likely all the input you see, there are gateways to our database. So a script can actually be written within this input here, and it might cause a damage to your database, right? So we're going to be sanitizing some inputs that will be sent by the user. Okay, so let's have a function sanitize. All right, so for the newbies, what we're actually doing here, we are creating a function. A function simply means a block of code that is actually doing a particular task, that is carrying out a particular task. Like, you can have a function. A very simple example for now, you can have a function that will just say hello to users, right? So all you're just going to do is echo hello user. Okay, so you can have another function that says hello, you know um, to a particular user, that is, say hello with the name of the user attached. So you can say hello user. So here we're going to have a parameter of user. So you can say echo hello user. So this function is actually a block of code that is actually performing a specific task, right? This says hello the user, like hello John, hello James, hello Peter, while this one just says hello user, right? So they are a block of code that perform a specific task. So simply, we're going to be having so many functions in this application. And why functions? It just helps to actually reduce repetition of codes, and with functions it can be faster. Like when you have about up to 7 pages to work on, right? With just one function, you can use the same function in different pages as well. So it makes more sense to always use functions in your PHP course. All right, so we have sanitize. So this sanitize is going to take in a parameter input. Sorry about that. Parameter input, and in our db.php, let's quickly include the require. Sorry. So require what functions dot php. So in our db.php, we're going to be requiring function.php here. So this link also will be seen within this function.php. All right, so we're going to be saying global link. So what this global actually means is, within a function variables are not visible. That the scope of a variable is dead within a function, right? So a variable cannot be seen within a function. So what we need to actually do is add the global keyword before the variable name, right? So within the db.php, we have this variable link, which is actually connecting getting the response, or having the control for connecting to the database, right? So what we actually do here is, when we add the global here, we are telling the program that we are actually referring to this link up here, right? So if we remove this global here, that means we are creating a new variable outside of this guy here, right? So say global link. Okay, then we can then say input is equal to, so there's some function we can use to do that. So we can say html special class, then html entities, then within the same function we have so say trim, and then we have our input up here. Then we'll then say return return input. All right. Okay, so this was just for an example. Okay. All right, so here we have the sanitize function um up and running there. So if we want to add more functions, we can just simply go there and then add more functions to help um, secure our program. Right, so we're gonna have another function here, and this function will be for logging in. So we can say login. Okay, all right, so we can have this login here. So we'll leave that for now, and then we'll have another function, and then we'll say register. All right, we leave that these two for now. Okay, so quickly, when we go to the pages.login.php, we'll notice that we have a form, right? So we have a form, and then we have some inputs in the form. Okay, so quickly, what we need to do here is remove the hashtag there, and then we add a method. For those of you that knows HTML, so this method is actually a type of a method how we send our data, right? So the post, it passes through the body of the browser. It passes through the body of the browser. While the get, we have post and get. While the get passes through the URL, right, and then send is data. So I'm gonna be making use of post right here. So I have a video on form handling in PHP, so I'm gonna be pasting it on the description below for better understanding for those of you that are not aware or don't know how this works. All right, so on the input here, we're gonna be adding a name attribute. Okay, so while we're adding this name attribute, so PHP makes use gets the value of this input through the name attribute of a particular input, right? So this is why we actually have the name attribute placed here. So this is the email. We'll call this email, and then down here this is the password. So we'll also add a name attribute here, a name attribute, and then we'll call this password. Okay, so right here we have um, the checkbox, right? So we're gonna have a name attribute as well to get the value of the checkbox. So we'll call this remember, and then down here the button that is submitting the form, we'll give this a name as well, and then we'll call this submit. Okay, so let's see if this actually works. So at the top of the page, we'll push this down. So if you notice, we are not cutting out the header here. Why? Because the login is a whole design on its own, so we'll just leave everything the way it is. It's not going to cause an issue, right? So we have our PHP right here. Oh, we can just simply do this, right? Okay, so we have our PHP right here. Then we can choose to say if is set $_post submit. Okay, let's just echo out something very simple. Echo submitting. Else, just very something we used to check our code. Else not submitting. Okay, so let's save this and then back to our pages.login.php. Okay, so we are having not submitting already. Interesting. Okay, so if is set post this echo not echo submitting else. Okay, so why we are having the else is because it's not yet is set. Okay, So it set means like when we click on this particular button, the sign in button, that is this button right here. Remember, we have the name submit. Please, I would like you to please go back to my video on form handling in PHP. So is within the channel right here. Just I'm going to be dropping the link on the description. Please just watch it for better understanding. Okay, so we're gonna have this and then this. So we submit. All right, you see that submitting. Okay, so we have everything working really fine. Okay, so we're going to be doing something else here. We're not just going to be echoing submitting. We're actually going to be going to the database to check if the email and the password they match, right? Then we can now give them access to the database. Also quickly, let's also have a file within the config, a file here within the config, and we'll call this helpers.php. And let's just configure something here. This sanitize, we'll cut it out and then we'll place it on the helpers.php. Oops. Alright, so yeah, okay, so that is that. So for us to make use of to get this email and the password from the users here, we'll have to add a parameter here which says post. Okay, so what is this post here? This post will stand for the method type of this form, which is post here. So we're actually going to be using, remember we are using the post by global array to get names. That is the names here, that's the values of the inputs, right? So right here we'll say, first of all, we have errors is equals to an array. So first of all, we have an array of errors. That is when you have a mistake or when you have a form not filled, we'll just have to save the error message within the this error arrays here. Okay, and then we're going to make use of a function called extract, and we'll say extract post. So what this does is, within an array, when you have extract, it picks the values of the array and then converts them to a variable. Alright, so we're going to be cutting the video here because it's getting too long. So in our next tutorial, we're going to be finishing this up and also moving into other sections of the application. Alright, and if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. We'll be happy if you really subscribe and also like our videos. And click on the bell button to get notified whenever we upload new videos, right? Alright, thank you for watching. Please leave a comment below if you have any questions for me. Thank you.